This topic is about creating and aligning objectives and key results. And in this lesson, we're going to look at writing OKRs your team will understand, templates, examples, and some common mistakes. So going back to 1999, when Google was still just 40 people in a small office, John Doerr introduced them to OKRs. And the format was simple enough for every team to use, but flexible enough to work across engineering, sales, and even HR. That's the balance we're looking for. We're looking for clarity without complexity. And today we're going to dig into how to write OKRs that your team will actually understand and use. So when we think about the objective, that one-line aspirational goal, there's a couple of, dare I say it, templates that are quite helpful to think about. Let's go through the first one.
Yeah, so first let's caveat, these templates can be really powerful to give you a good starting point. It is not a copy and paste situation where they will work in every single time that you're trying to create an objective, but it's a great way to get started.
Yeah.
So the first one is an impact template. Yeah. So tell us what we mean by that.
So you might want to think about what is it that you're trying to do as an organization. Maybe you're looking to achieve market-leading coffee orders in your new pumpkin spice latte. Maybe you're looking to crush the competition as Intel did. You know, it's a big aspirational impact-driven objective. And so you can start with that impact and then you can move on to, you know, what are you going to do, by when, and so on.
Yeah.
The other template you can think about is a problem-solving template. So this might be that you have a big problem to solve. Maybe you need to fix a product or you need to dramatically reduce customer churn, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Or reduce how long it takes to make our pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so again, you know, behind, same as the first one, behind this template, there will be a KPI lever that's being driven somewhere. But this is just a helpful thing to think about. You know, if you've got a problem to solve, you can have a problem-solving objective, and then you can be clear on how you're going to achieve it and by when and what does that look like.
And the last one is about growth. So probably the most easy to understand, but it will be growth-driven objective where maybe we want to increase sales from X to Y over a period of time.
Yeah. Grow number of customers. Grow sales.
Yeah.
You might have grow team members.
Yeah.
You know, in consulting businesses, you know, we always want to kind of grow the team, grow the number of consultants. So again, you know, growth-based objectives are really easy, really straightforward. Yeah. Really easy to tie that to the KPI or the metric that's sitting behind it.
Yeah, definitely. So we've just looked at our objectives and the templates that we can use to make them really, really strong, well-written objectives. Let's take that down a level to our key results. So we mentioned earlier on about the SMART framework that you can use for setting goals. It's a great way for us to check and test whether our key results are good and strong enough for what we need them to be. So as a quick recap, SMART is specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. So, Ben, can you bring this to life for everyone? Give us a practical example using our coffee shop of what this means.
Daily Grind.
Daily Grind, yes.
Yeah, our favourite, our most loved coffee company in the UK. So let's have a look at a poorly written OKR, a poorly written objective and key result. So as an example, the objective, improve coffee sales. The key results, sell more seasonal drinks and train staff on upselling. So, Amy, why is this not a great example of an objective and some key results?
Well, improve coffee sales doesn't tell us how much by.
Yeah.
So I could sell one more drink and we've achieved that goal.
Yeah.
In theory. There's no time specificity around it, so we don't know how long we've got to improve sales.
Yeah.
It's very generic as well.
Yeah.
So whilst I think it's clear of what we're trying to achieve, it's not measurable, it's not time-bound, it's not necessarily actionable because we don't really know what it means by that. Key results wise, same applies. So sell more seasonal drinks. How many more? No idea. Train staff on upselling. How many staff?
By when? What does training mean?
Exactly. Are we just going to tell them to do upselling? Or are we going to do, what does that actually look like? And yeah, to your point, how do we know it's going to be successful? So
it's also incredibly boring and it's not very aspirational. And you've got to think about a coffee chain with thousands of frontline staff, and you give them this as your big objective for the quarter, it's really boring. You know, go sell more drinks. It's like,
definitely.
Well, you know, of course, that's what we're here to do. So, you know, again, it's not very exciting. It's not aspirational. We want objectives to be aspirational. We want them to be exciting. So let's look by contrast at a hopefully a better written one.
Yes.
So be the most recommended coffee chain in the UK by the end of Q4. Is that any better?
Much better.
Why?
Much better.
What makes
It's
it better?
clear. I understand when I've got to do it by. I understand exactly what we're trying to achieve. It's not just about the sales, it's about so much more than that.
Yeah. And what you can also do is, because we've defined be the most recommended, we can start to now already see what metrics and what key results we might use to measure that, like net promoter score, brand loyalty, that kind of thing. If we go into the key results for this better written objective and key results could be increased net promoter score by, NPS from 62 to 75 by the end of Q4.
Yeah.
The second one might be launch and complete the national rollout of the Brew Better Barista training program to all 500 stores by the end of Q3. The third might be increased loyalty card signups from 25,000 to 35,000 by the end of Q4. So just a dramatically different set of key results, more specific, there's more detail, they're more thought through. They're also more exciting.
Yeah.
I wrote this myself, but I'm already excited about the Brew Better Barista training program. That sounds like something that people are going to want to go on. And again, the other two, so Net Promoter Score is a really brilliant framework for customer satisfaction. You probably had it on a 1 to 10. How much would you recommend what you've just done? 9 or 10 tends to be a promoter, and the middle ones are neutral and you have detractors. Great framework, really easy to tell whether you are on your way to achieving that objective. The loyalty card signups, again, it's a very specific activity that is probably going to help drive you towards being recommended within a time frame. So dramatically different set of objectives and key results.
Yeah. So I think it's important that we talk about some common mistakes to avoid.
Yeah.
Things that we see all the time. So Ben, kick us off with, what do you see that goes wrong with this?
So I think one of the really easy ones is to be not very specific on outcome and be more writing outputs. So, for example, if we look at the example we've just been through, so be the most recommended coffee chain in the UK by the end of Q4. There is a danger that you could take that and you could write that as something like drive loyalty card signups.
Yeah.
Now, that is a really useful key result. But actually, if you were to make the objective about loyalty card signups, that doesn't necessarily help you become the most loved coffee chain. So actually being specific on what is the outcome, well, the outcome is to be loved by customers, so they tell their friends about you, so they come back and they buy you your drinks every time. They spend more money when they're walking through the shop floor. That's an outcome that is actually really meaningful and is tied very specifically to business outcomes.
Yeah.
The activity or the outputs would be things like sign ups to a loyalty card system, but it's a case of just being clear on which one is the outcome versus which is perhaps an activity or some output. And just they're both valuable, but making sure that they're stacked in the right way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Think about the loyalty card one. Now, if we only decided to have that as our metric, we just said we want to drive loyalty card signups, that doesn't actually tell us whether those loyalty card signups are bringing in any more value to the organisation. So if you're targeting your individual people, your managers, your marketing team with drive signups, you might put a campaign out that says, hey, sign up for us and you get a free coffee. People can come in, take one free coffee, never talk to you again as an organisation. Yeah. So it's driving the wrong kind of behaviour by only having one very specific thing. Yeah. What we're trying to do is drive the overall goal, and that's why the multiple things help that. So it avoids that situation where we're driving the wrong behaviours with people.
Absolutely. Now, here's a pro tip. The reality is that when we cascade these objectives and key results down, the person on the shop floor who's serving the coffees, their individual goal, if they're behind the till, might be to get a certain number of loyalty card signups in the day. Yeah. So that's still going to be the case. Now, where OKRs are powerful is that when that individual really clearly understands how that ties up into the objective above and how that ties up into the organizational objective and how that links to the vision. That's not a problem. If you have an output or an activity-based goal, and as an individual, maybe as a team, that's not a problem as long as everyone in a split second can articulate how it goes back up to the big outcomes. Yeah. The problem is when people are only able to articulate their day-to-day outputs and they don't know where it fits.
Yeah. You'll end up with everyone's friends and family signing up for a loyalty card and never actually using it.
Exactly.
Which is not what you're looking for.
Let's go to the key takeaways.
Yes, 3 key takeaways. Leverage structured templates to make OKRs easy to write and understand. Always ask, so what, to connect OKRs to bigger strategic outcomes. Avoid vague key results. Be sure to make them smart.
So for your closing challenge, I want you to think about one of your current goals or one of your current objectives, personal, team, and I want you to rewrite it using one of the 3 examples we spoke about: impact, problem solving, or growth. How could you write that goal in a really powerful objective statement that uses one of those templates?